Alright, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike, Way of Life Esports. I am the Nightwing, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. I'm going to be previewing the LEC quarterfinal matchups. We're going to start with the first round, and that's going to be on Splyce versus Rouge. Now, normally, this should be very one-sided. I think a lot of people are going to mostly generally say Splyce should win 3-0 or 3-1 because I do believe Rouge could potentially win a game. The issue with that is why would they win a game? And that's more along the lines of as like when people predicted that Clutch wouldn't win a game against TL in the last semifinal match in the LCS, in which we just saw. Most people didn't even give Clutch a game. I gave them one game because, you know, it's a best of 5, it's not a best of 1. You get to see more drafts, you get to see more strategy, you get to see more preparation in a best of 5 than in, you know, in a best of 1. So you have to understand that all takes place when you're actually able to think about it logically. So, let's preview this matchup. Now, Splyce always get memed about being the slow team. They're always kind of top tier, but they're not exactly at Fnatic or G2 level, as you guys like to talk about. But with that being said, I think that when you look at them in a vacuum compared to this and last split, they have drastically improved. I feel like this Splyce roster is really good compared to last year's Splyce roster. This Splyce roster isn't afraid to make the mistakes when they need to. This Splyce roster has that edge against other teams because since they have such stable players to the point where it's basically they don't get ran over as much as they used to. You have people on the team like Xerxes and Vizicachi, which is a really good, strong, serviceable top side. You also have Humanoid, who's been actually performing really, really well, and you guys are going to be really surprised to see him where he's going to land in my all-pro LEC team that I'm going to be doing a lot later on in the day. I'm going to have to pick out who am I actually going to put in my all LEC pro teams, and hopefully it doesn't end up with all 5 G2 members at number 1. But spoiler, it's not, because I'm not biased and I'm not a fanboy over anybody, but obviously love my G2 boys. Also, let's go with the bot lane. You have Norscarin and you have Kabe. A lot of people would predict Kabe as to be, you know, obviously a top tier AD carry. I don't know why people thought that him winning All-Pro ADC in the LEC last split was a fluke. Like, I don't know if people properly watch games, but yeah, it just seems to be a narrative that when a player like him does well, it's really surprising, which is like, it's not, because he's actually not bad. He's not like, you know, Apollo level. And I mean, if you watch enough Apollo games, you'll know Apollo level, but he's not Apollo level. He's really good, and him and Norscarin have actually developed a really well type of synergy that can obviously get them a lead in lane. Now, the difference with all of the things that Splyce can do, pair about like which Splyce are we going to get? Are we going to get a Splyce that wants to play mid game bad, early game good, late game good? Are we gonna get a Splyce that wants to play early game bad, mid game good, late game good? You know, we don't know what Splyce we always consistently get, but we do know the level at which their players can perform, and we do know the levels of which they can actually get to the place where they need to be. And you just want to obviously give them the benefit of the doubt because they are the stronger team. They perform much better than Rouge throughout their whole regular split in multiple different games. They suffered 5 losses all split long, just having the really bad last week that they had. In order for that to really have someone like me who's analyzing the games and predicting the games, Rouge would have to really improve to the point where they could take down Splyce. Now, Splyce obviously are coming into this matchup basically as heavy favorites. You know, they're probably going to end up winning 3-0, and that's my prediction anyways, is 3-0. Now you have Rouge. So, Rouge, they have Finn, Larson, Inspired, Vander, and Woolite or Hiku. Now, they're probably not going to run Hiku. I hope they don't run Hiku in their quarterfinal match, but Rogue's strengths. This is a better Rogue lineup than the one they had last split, which obviously finished in 10th place, right? And Rogue, I feel like, are a good team to a certain point. Yeah, memeing about them beating TSM. Still, I still stand by that TSM could beat Rogue because, well, yeah, I don't... it just really is funny to me that Rogue struggled to get 8 wins in the split, and TSM, at least... they made the playoffs. Okay, good. I'm just joking, guys. It's not a Rogue versus TSM video. Though I still believe Rogue would still lose to TSM if they played an actual best of 5. Yeah, I believe even with TSM slumping as hard as they did, I do believe Rogue would still lose to TSM. That's sad, right? But in this context, let's talk about Rogue versus Splyce. Alright, so Finn is actually pretty good in terms of being able a stable top laner, in terms of getting a CS advantage and roaming around the map effectively when he's needed to be. He's actually been quietly really good whenever he actually gets the stage time. I feel like with a week of the best of 5 prep, he can be a lot better in terms of a best of 5. Now, if you pair that up to Larson and Inspired, which is a more cohesive duo than Humanoid and Xerxes, because I feel like Larson and Inspired are way more cohesive given the fact that they actually move together when they're actually planning something. It feels like when Humanoid and Xerxes do something, it's more along the lines of, hey, this guy did something, and I should probably follow up. Like, it's not in sync like the Rogue boys are. So I'll give that edge to Rogue. I feel like their synergy in the mid lane, as being more so a topside duo, is a lot better than the Splyce teams. But you're going to have to look at that bot lane, and that's a really, really, really big gap in that bot lane. And it's sad that you would think Vander could basically not be as good. Like, he's been not as good as he was the last split, or no, last year when he was on Schalke, because I just haven't got that feeling that he was a top tier level support. He still is to a certain extent. I feel like he's on the more average side now, since there's been just better supports overall in the league now. With that being said, I think you have to go along the lines of, will that bot lane be able to consistently hold its own against Xerxes, and obviously him coming down to obviously gank for Splyce's bot lane, because we know that Xerxes puts a lot of his time in the bot lane, as well as holding off Kabe and Norscarin. So that's going to be a big test for them. Rogue's strengths are just kind of the underdog story. That's it. They come in with no expectations. They come in basically, they have to go all out. You have to win or they're done. The year's over. So that's pretty much all their strengths alone. They do have other strengths. I feel like in a best of 5, Rogue is the type of team that'll just pull out some complete random stuff and get like 2 free wins because of cheese. It seems to be a thing that teams do in best of 5s in every region. I've seen enough best of 5s to the point where people always get surprised in game 1, and then Splyce in games 2, 3, and 4 could obviously crush them because they figured out how their style works. But Rogue are not as easy as people are making out to be, but I do feel like the overall player quality is what is going to separate them in general in terms of this specific best of 5, because I feel like Splyce are the more consistent team, the more finesse team, the more team with the more veteran experience, that to the point where, like, if it's clutch time, I feel like these players are a lot more clutch. We've seen Vizicachi, Xerxes, Kabe, and Norscarin in clutch moments. We've seen Humanoid last split when he was in the best of 5s against Fnatic. He played pretty well on his own, actually, but I feel like now with more time to learn, more time to grow, he's been able to actually be a really, really serviceable mid laner. And the same thing goes with the Rogue boys. It's, they've all gotten better throughout the split. I feel like their issue was that they weren't playing in the Ultra Liga, and I even said that coming in, they would do a lot better, because that once you played in the Ultra Liga, which is like the academy for EU, when you actually come up to the LEC and face quality players, they're just going to get better by default. That's just how it works, And they have gotten better. I'm not going to give them no credit. They have gotten better. But is it enough to beat this team? I'm not going to think so. But I will give Rogue, actually, it could be a very, very close series, actually. I'm going to give it 3-2. I think Rogue can put up a fight. I'll be the guy that says it. I don't care. Hey, it's a prediction. What are you going to do? Get mad at me for my own prediction? Like, but I will say Splyce will win. I'm going to say 3-2 Rogue. I think they have a lot to prove. I think they're a lot better than what they've shown, because this is a best of 5. This is a lot more games than what they played in the regular split, and with a lot more prep, they might be a lot better. But Splyce, I think, are the more the more finesse team, the more veterans. That always tends to be a factor in you must consider when you're looking at matchups like this. And typically 6th place teams don't really get further than what they get. They are a bottom of the half team, but hey, they have the ability to surprise. I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy Way of Life Esports. I'm the Nightwing signing out, and that's it. Peace out, guys. Podcast later on tonight. Actually, we'll record that and we'll get the LCS finals all prepped up for you. So see you guys later. Bye. Have a good day.